let's go ahead and do the first one here.
All right.
See if I can put it on here. So this is the one that I really wanted to hit on here
I'm
because
almost out of
I read
bourbon.
it. It's Scorched Ace. He said on a video that I talked about suffering. While I believe that suffering is important, it is necessary in life. He said, I buried my older brother on Friday, and I've been trying to look at the positive side of things, knowing my brother's resting now. But I woke up this morning wondering why my family was put through this tragedy and we have to suffer. And then I saw your message, your short video, and it really answered everything racing through my mind. Honestly, God bless and thank you for taking the time to share such a positive outlook and message on the truth and the dark side of reality. Thank you. We don't often get comments like that. You know,
Yeah.
we're with how really myself more than you, I'm striving to become a little more stoic with the energy I bring with certain topics, but I'm going to trigger, we both are, but I'm going to trigger a lot of emotions sometimes. And, you know, there's a lot of comments, and there's a lot of people mad. And I think if most people would get in here and sit down and talk to us, they'll see that most things are coming from a place of love.
Right. I
And
think most people really misunderstood my point of view on Israel, you know.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah. Really misunderstood what I was saying.
That got a shadow banned, I think. So with the suffering thing, we'll touch on it real quick with what you think. Do you know, when you go through life, there is no, Alan Watts has a good, you should listen to some of his stuff. One of his best speeches is when he talks about, he talks philosophy a lot. He's a Buddhist, but he talks about a dream. Suppose you could go to bed every night and dream any dream that you wanted to dream, and you could have all the pleasure, all the successes, all the riches, all the experience you want to have. Wouldn't that get boring? Even though it's everything you want, we're human. We're always thinking, what's next? What's the next goal? Where do I see myself? Like, we're never living in the exact moment. He describes life as a musical. We're not trying to just get to the last chord. We're not trying to just get to the end. It's not a pilgrimage. It's not a journey. We're just trying to dance, right? We're just trying to hear the music. And suffering is an absolute fundamental reality of that. If I cannot suffer, if I cannot, in the dream, he talks about, you know, he was talking about life. You live through 75 years and you die. You're dying. Well, let's have a surprise. It's something that I cannot control. It's it's so I don't know. And you, with your life that you've had, you can probably speak on it more than I can. Coming through on the other side of suffering, I think it's absolutely fundamental in life. I think it's absolutely fundamental in development. I think it's absolutely fundamental in just humanity, because you can teach your children that you can spread those lessons in life. And I'm very happy with this comment. It kind of got me emotional when I first read it. I shared it with my wife, because dude just buried his brother, and he probably searched suffering, and he came across that. And that we both already talked about this. We're not doing this for attention. We're not doing this for money. We're not doing this for stuff like this, but it is icing on the cake when our message, we're just doing this to talk. You and I talk a lot. So when we just figured, why not record it? But we're, I want people to hear the message if they are going to hear it. I don't care how many people hear it, but I do hope our message comes. When I say stuff like you need to suffer, it's because that's part of life. And if you don't put yourself in suffering, whether it's working out, whether it's, anything that we were talking about, fasting, if you don't put yourself in these things, you're not gonna,
you don't grow.
You're not gonna appreciate it.
You don't, and you don't grow.
You don't grow, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I hate to hear that about his brother. It does seem like it's a fundamental thing. I don't know. Did you ever read the book, The Giver, like in high school? Did you
oh my God. Yeah.
So
I don't remember much, but yeah, we did.
So one of the premises of The Giver is, so you have a society that everything is basically taken care of for you. I mean, it's a perfect society. There's no crime. There's nothing. And the kind of the climactic end of it is basically, it's the realization that when you have no pain, when you have no suffering, when nothing bad ever happens, there is no concept of pleasure, of good, and so because they had taken everything out of society as far as like love, the word love was outlawed. Like you weren't supposed to say the word love.
I remember.
You didn't have, it was, you had a family, but it was basically just to kind of to get by, to support each other. It wasn't a loving family. There was no that connection. You weren't even biologically related to each other because everybody was just being born, and then they would get put with a family and that type of thing. So it and that's kind of the premise of the book, is that you have to have trials. You have to have things you go through in life that makes you appreciate good things. Like you don't appreciate a good relationship with someone if you've never had a bad relationship with someone. Mm-hmm. If you've never had a friend who lets you down, you don't know how good it is to have a friend that's there for you, So, and, there's an old saying or whatever, talking about like a lion. You've got a lion, you have two lions. One of them lives out in the wild. He has to work for his food. He has to worry about hunters killing him. He has to worry about, whatever, another male, attacking him. He's not safe. His whole life, he has to struggle to survive. Another lion who's sitting in a cage in a zoo has all of his meals given to him. He doesn't have to do any work. He's not in any danger of anybody killing him. Mm-hmm. They put other females in there for him because they want him to breed. So he doesn't have to fight any other male for breeding rights. Mm-hmm. But yet, unless that lion was born in captivity, I guarantee you, the moment he has a chance to escape, he's going to escape.
Oh yeah,
because he doesn't want that. There's always that you have to play that game of freedom versus security. Mm-hmm. I don't want the government giving me a monthly check that said, a living allowance, that the, whatever they're calling it, the standard living or whatever. I don't want a society like a lot of people on the left will say, wouldn't it be great if we all just had the same exact house that the government gave us? We didn't have to pay for it. The government gives us a house, but nobody has a bigger one than the other. Everybody has the same square footage, the same house. It's provided for you. We all get free health care. We all get this. And they want to create this utopian society like that, but that's not how human beings truly want to live. At least that's not how I want to live.
No.
I don't want all that stuff taken care of for me, because in the struggle comes happiness. It feels good. Anybody who's ever had a garden, you can't tell me that it's not a better feeling when you eat something out of your garden than when you bought it at the store. Mm-hmm. You grow that. It's so much more rewarding. And when you see your family eating food that you literally put on the table because you grew it, you put the effort in to do that, it's a good feeling. And so it's just like we talk about how Jordan Peterson says, taking on burden, taking on responsibility. He says that you grow in proportion to how much responsibility you voluntarily take on. Yeah. So the more voluntarily responsibility you put on yourself, the more you're going to grow. And so, yeah, I mean, we have to have struggle. I want struggle. I don't want an easy life, because what is that? What?
Boring.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, I say all the time, I don't think human beings were designed to sit in a cubicle behind a computer screen all day, plugging in numbers and just being a cog in the wheel. I would much rather. So Megan loves Little House on the Prairie. Have you ever watched that show? Mm-hmm. It's a great show. It truly is. And the dad, Charles Ingalls, boy, he, especially in the first couple seasons, well, he has it rough, man. He has to deal with Native Americans. He's got to deal with his crop getting, destroyed by the weather. All kinds of, his barn gets burned down, but he never stops, and he always puts his health on the line, everything for his family, and he provides for them, and he does whatever he has to do, and he gets out and does the work. And no, it wasn't an easy life, but man, I would take that over like socialism any day of the week, any day of the week.